So today we're doing some cover crop seeding, and I think we should be able to get caught up by the end of the day today and be done with this. So that's what we're attempting to do today. About full for this load, and be heading back out to the field. And then I just kind of make a chart and kind of help keep track of where I'm at, whether I'm getting the right pounds per acre on a load by load basis instead of waiting until the very end and all of a sudden I realize something wasn't right and messed up and I either run short on seed or I have a bunch left over. So seeding's a little different than spraying. You gotta, your density or your seed can change. So we do density checks. Kimberly does density checks on the seed before we ever load it, and then I can look at my chart and see where I should be for that density and the pounds per acre that I need. Cereal rye, I'll normally run 5 foot wider swath on cereal rye than I do with oats. Oats, I'll back it down a little bit just because oats are lighter and they don't fly out there as far. So try and make sure we get a good pattern. Traffic thrust 2249 uniform departing 16 back to the northwest. Our field today is only about 5 miles away, so it won't take us long to get there. Pull our prop back here and get everything set. Alright, see my field over there. I ended on the far end of the field, so I gotta go past the field and turn around and come back. Just the way it ended up with that load. Field's off to my right here, about a half a mile. So some of the reasons why we do cover crop, the cover crop will add organic matter to your soil, which is good for your fertility. Wind and soil erosion, put cover on it, and then when it rains, helps hold the soil in place for water and with wind. Back when the early settlers came into Iowa, according to what I've read, they thought the average topsoil in Iowa was like 14 to 16 inches. Entering the field, gonna turn my seed on. And in the year 2000, they refigured that, and they think we're down to about 6 to 8 inches of topsoil now. So a lot of people think that the soil just goes down forever and ever, and it doesn't. You have clay soil underneath your topsoil, which won't hardly grow anything. So we need our topsoil, we need to preserve it. But this is also very expensive to do if you don't have any incentives to do it. So anyway, so if you ever driven down in the wintertime and see the snow drifts on the side of the road that are just black with soil, that's topsoil from these fields. So if you put some cover crop on it, get a little bit of green growing in it before winter gets here, then it'll kind of help hold the soil in place and protect it from the wind. And there's other ways of doing that too. You can leave a lot of not do a lot of fall tillage, leave a lot of your bean stubble and corn stalks laying in the field. So another advantage of cover crops is a lot of your cover crops their roots will suck up the nitrogen that was unused from the crop year, and it'll hold on to it. And then when you kill the cover crop next year, it'll release it back into the soil. What that does is keeps the nitrates from going into our groundwater. So that's a good thing as well. So anyway, those are a couple of the reasons why farmers may want to do cover crops. So in this area we do a lot of minimum tillage. It's not like it was 40 or 50 years ago when we were using moldboard plows and turning the soil and all the the crop residue completely over. So not really doing that anymore for the most part, unless somebody's got like a hay field they want to turn over or something. You just rarely ever see a moldboard plow used around our parts anymore. Some parts of the country have to use them just because I think their soil's more like a gumbo or something, and they may have to turn it over just because that's what works best for them. But in this area, we don't have to do that. So anyway, the same hopper, I use the same hopper for seed that I do for liquid. If I'm doing liquid, I've got a 2-inch port on the bottom that I hook a spray pump to, which is wind driven. I take all that off when I'm seeding, the booms. I even took the boom hangers off, got rid of all that, and hung a spreader on the bottom. And there's a gate on the bottom of the hopper, the width of the hopper, and I just push the lever forward and it opens up that gate. I've got a little gauge here I can open and close to get that gate to stop at a certain point, and that regulates how much seed falls out, and it falls out directly in front of that spreader, and the wind going through the spreader just slings it out to the side. I'm doing about 50 pounds the acre today of cereal rye, so I'm going to do anywhere between 55 and 60 acres per load. So that's a lot different than when you're spraying. You're doing usually at least 200 acre loads. So you make a lot of trips back and forth to the airport, so you don't get quite as many acres done in a day as you would if you were spraying, but all right, you just adjust your price a little bit, you charge a little bit more because you're making so many trips back and forth to the field. So we probably got a couple more rounds here and we're going to be empty already. And once again, keeping an eye on the house down there that I have to go over to enter this field. Making sure I'm not spooking their animals to the point where they're about ready to run through the fence or something like that. Usually the only animals that have an issue are goats and sheep, it seems like. Cows, horses don't seem to care, but goats for sure, they get really spooked from an airplane, so you got to be really careful with them. There's actually a guy up by Walker who has a bunch of goats that he rents them out, like for junkyards and stuff like that, and they'll basically keep the grass down for people if they got timber or junkyards or building site or whatever that they don't want to mow. They'll rent these goats. So anyway, this guy's got a ton of goats over there, and I had a guy hire me to do a field on the south edge of him and on the east edge of him, and I was going to have to turn over top of those goats, and that was not fun. I had to turn way out around away, and it was very inefficient, and I basically just told the guy, I said, I'm not going to do that anymore. Those goats just were, they were running right towards the fence, and I could have swore they were going to go right through it. So not worth killing a bunch of guys' goats because they're all spooked. So I think I've got maybe about 5 or 6 more loads today, and then we are caught up with all of our orders. So we'll see. I don't expect any more orders will be coming in, but we'll see. I do have some grass seed to spread over a timber later on. The guy doesn't want it done right now, so that'll probably be happening maybe in a month. But as far as our cover crop seeding, I think we're just about done. And I'm ready to be done. When we get to seeding, it's just Kimberly and I doing it. Our ground crew has gone back to their normal life, and so we're tired. We need a little bit of break before harvest starts here, so we're ready to be done. But somebody needs something done, they call. More than likely, we're not going to turn it down either. We'll get it done for them. But we won't be disappointed if we're done for the year. A little window in the hopper down in front of me, and I can see the seed in there. Once it gets below the window, then I know I'm getting close. It was totally calm when we started this morning. The wind's starting to pick up a little bit, but we're still, at the moment, we're still below 10 mile an hour. So hopefully we can get this all finished up today without the wind getting too crazy on us. Might end up on the far side of the field again. If I've only got the one pass left here, or if I got a little bit more than that. Alright, just starting to see my crossbars down there, so I'm not sure if I can make it all the way across again or not. We'll see. But we are definitely down to one pass or less. We're going back to the airport. I've already got this field, the edge is trimmed up, so I don't have to turn on exactly right at the end. So, we are empty, heading back to the airport.
Veterans Memorial Airport. Automated weather observation. 1618 Zulu. Weather. Wind. 160 at 6. Visibility.
160 at 6. It's right down the runway. Looks like hopefully weather's going to cooperate.
Traffic, Bonanza 22 Alpha, turning final. Runway 13, Owing. Head traffic threat 2249 uniform, mile and a half northwest, enter a right base for 16. Then head traffic threat 2249 uniform, turn final for 16. Then
I do kind of offset this approach a little bit because I actually have a guy's house right off the end of the runway, and rather than fly directly over his house, I'll kind of sidestep a little bit. And then I can line up to the runway when I get past it. Straighten out. Bring my flaps down. Hopefully I don't bounce it while I'm recording. But I guess if I bounce,
And I technically get 2 landings, right? I don't think that's how it works, but gotta be some advantage to bouncing your landing. Our seed guy showed up, brought us the last little bit of seed we need, and taking a bunch of his pro boxes back home with him. And the other retailers got an auger truck and a seed tender left here. Hopefully get all this stuff done today and get everything back home where it belongs. So, that was one load. Didn't take very long. We'll talk to you guys later.